Oh man, I thought I was done with these three boneheads. Nope. It's puck time. Game 7 in the NHL. And one thing I know is a fact. This is our last show of the NHL season. And honestly, it's been a pleasure. I mean, I've really enjoyed doing the shows with you, Alex and Carm. Andrew, definitely not so much. You're always late.
Wow.
Your sound always sucks. You make me feel old.
But you'll miss me.
I will not.
Wow.
Please have this all fixed for the first week of October when we start Puck Time up again. Alex P. Smith, what's up, brother?
Not much. Just recovering from what was not too bad of a hangover over the weekend, but I'm now 30 and I feel it for sure. But like I said, it's been a fun.
I feel it.
Yeah, I feel 30.
I'm 50.
Yeah.
I don't even feel 30. What the hell?
Well,
yeah, drink your diet, drink your Coke, and tell us how you feel old.
I knew that was coming.
Hey, some days back in the day I used to feel like I was 50. So it's sometimes you party a little too hard every now and then. It was a good weekend and it was nice to have people hanging out and stuff. But it's been fun doing this show. We started in middle December, and it's been great to get to know all you guys. Well, I known Andrew before, but Carm and Prez, it's been fun getting to know you guys and talking hockey basically every day. So looking forward to October. I'm not ready for October to start right now. I want to enjoy the summer a little bit, but we got one more game, and somebody's going to be lifting the Stanley Cup on Wednesday night. So looking forward to seeing that.
Carmine, we saw you on Friday night at my house. We had 14 guys at my house Friday night, and it turned into a fist fight.
Yeah, and this is the one time where there was a fist fight and I wasn't involved, which is great. I was watching the Raptors. I was playing some cash poker and taking their money. It was great. So it was great. Today is a monster day in Canada. Let me tell you guys, down south, monster day in Canada. It all starts with our Canadian women's team in the World Cup against the Cameroons. I know Lauren says, screw the women. It's the Raptors tonight.
Oh, no. Why don't we just leave it at screw the women?
And then it's the Raptors tonight.
Especially Morgan. Especially Morgan on the USA team.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Oh, yeah, she's fantastic.
Prez has a scouting report, but not the skill scouting report.
Yeah.
The look scouting report.
Yeah, scouting report for the female World Cup soccer. Number 8 has really great legs.
No. Former U.S. women's goalie Hope Solo has been doing commentary. She's a very vocal person, so you're probably not seeing any of it, but she's great to listen to. Anyways, I can't believe, Alex, you got to see, we have outside our stadium, our arena, we have what's called Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Where just tons of fans on the big screen they line up literally. And this weekend, they lined up days in advance. There's people there on Saturday lined up.
9 a.m. on Sunday, there's a line to get in. The game isn't till 9 p.m. on Monday. These twats have to stand there for 2 days and sleep there. Today. And it's raining.
Wow. That's dedication.
Wow. Finally, you guys get rain and I have sun.
And they do it just to stand outside, which is unbelievable. But it is spawned throughout Ontario, throughout Canada, that in different
I just
Raptors. There are Jurassic Parks all throughout Canada.
Have you seen mine?
I got to stop you all. Firstly, this is Puck Time, and we will actually eventually get to talk about Game 7 in the hockey. But I just want to say for the record, Carm, the Raptors are not Canada's team. They are Toronto's team.
Absolutely.
And if people from Halifax to Vancouver want to cheer for Toronto, that's fine by me. But don't call them your team.
Alex, are you still there, Alex?
I'll
give you a Canadian lesson here. That's a very typical Ontarian thing to say. That's why us East Coasters are known to be the nicest Canadians, because we would never say
Who
that.
decided you're the nicest Canadians? And you wouldn't say that because you don't have a team in any single sport. You can't even provide decent curlers.
Anytime it's the summer and there's people checking out Canada, checking out Halifax, touring around, they say, wow, you guys are so friendly here. You're so nice. I'm like, where are you from? Just Toronto, just Ontario. People don't say hi on the streets like they do here.
Yeah.
Alex,
here.
Yeah, when there's 7 people, population of 7, everyone says hi. And I don't need to listen to this crap.
Alex, if it wasn't for the only reason, to go out east is like for the lobster. If it wasn't for the lobster and maybe like the potatoes, we literally separate from the east because they're bringing us down.
Yeah, they're a bunch of whiny cheese balls who think they're nicer than Toronto, and they have no team in any single sport. They don't even have a guy who plays ping pong, and they decide out of the blue to jump on the Raptors bandwagon. We don't want them. We don't need them. Let's move on.
All right, so I want to talk about Game 6, all right, because I'm feeling really good about Game 6 because I had the Bruins, I had the over 5. I'm feeling very fortunate because I love that third period. But, they were chanting, we want the cup, we want the cup. They've got to wait till Game 7, and they won't actually get to see the cup presented live in their arena. It's going to be in Boston. So the line right now is -160. The over under is 5.5 shaded, 149 to the under. These are literally the exact same lines that we saw in Game 5. Prez?
Why don't you just take the show over?
It's puck time. I'm Carmine Bianco. I'm here with these 3 idiots.
Okay. You're asking me my opinion?
Yeah, yours matters.
I just want this to end. Like, from a fan perspective, I could care less who wins. I'm sure the people in Halifax have adopted Boston because they don't have teams and they just want to adopt teams, and Boston's the closest one. So I'm sure they'll be standing in Boston Park, some made-up area in the middle of Halifax. Carm, in all seriousness, my take, honestly, I like the under. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game until the third period, like last night. I like the under on the game, the over on the third period. I don't give a shit who wins. I want this over.
Yeah, I agree with you, Prez. I'm tired of this series as well. And as a Hawks fan, it would be nice to see St. Louis lose and then make fun of them all summer. But, Boston, I mean, they played their tail off. And obviously the great story of Zdeno Chara, coming back and playing with this whole broken jaw, that's remarkable. How great would it be to see him, obviously going to be in pain, but he's going to suck it up and lift up the cup if Boston wins. That'll be a great visual. I'm sure we'll see that photo plastered all over the internet.
Yeah, it'll be an 8-foot-tall photo.
Yeah.
Guys, can we all agree, though, that Game 6 was St. Louis's Game 7? If that makes any sense. Can we all agree that was their game?
I'm gonna go with Game 7 as St. Louis's Game 7, but that's just me.
Okay.
Before we get into it, we're going to give out a promo for Andrew. So, in keeping with our general conversation, in Canada, we have our own football league. It's called the Canadian Football League. You would think that the Canadian Football League would have a team in Halifax. Nope.
They're getting one.
Not even the Canadian Football League is in bloody well Halifax. With that said, Andrew rocks in Canadian football. And guys, in all seriousness, we told you all to buy Bobby Liggs' WNBA season. He is killing it already in the WNBA. And now we're moving into the summer. And the same thing applies for Andrew's Canadian football. Even though he doesn't have a team there, he does watch the games because they only have one channel in Halifax, and it is the CBC or TSN or whichever plays that sport that I never watch, but I do bet. $299 for Andrew's entire Canadian Football League season, and it goes into November. Please make sure to head over to Sports Memo and check that out, because I'm telling you, like Bobby Liggs' WNBA, this is free money, guys. I mean, Andrew is going to make you a ton in this sport. And if you want to try him out for a month, it's $99. You don't need a coupon code for the month. Just head over to Sports Memo and pull up his page. As far as the $299, use the promo code CFL299. And now I go to you, Andrew. What do you think is going to happen in St. Louis's actual Game 7?
Okay, their actual Game 7, Prez. Well, for all the UFC fighting fans out there, I'm going to use a little Nate Diaz quote here. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised we got here. I knew that Boston's been resilient for a long time. They've battled a lot of adversity. If you look at Tuukka Rask, Prez, I really like your under. You look at Tuukka Rask's stats: .973 save percentage this year in elimination games. Against Toronto in Game 6, he stopped 22 of 24 shots. Game 7 versus Toronto, 32 of 33. Game 6 against Columbus, 39 of 39. Carolina, Game 4, 24-24. The list goes on, guys, against St. Louis. Game 6, 28 of 29 shots. This one will be a low-scoring game, but I think Boston, like I've been saying all playoffs, Prez, I agree with you. It's been a long playoffs. Looking forward to CFL. Boston has more experience. They have more depth. And when they need their top line to come out to play the most, they do. In big games, when they need those guys to step up, 2 goals, 2 assists from that top line last night, we got from them. And I think, the big guys, the big numbers are going to show up to play. And let's face it, they regained home ice. This is what you played in the regular season for, and they got it back. I think they're going to be hoisting the Stanley Cup in Boston.
Dude, I mean,
Boston's going to have another parade.
Look,
and Prez, I want to say that if you're going to bet this game, there's no point. I would not bet Boston regular -170. You can literally flip that the opposite way and get them +170 on the puck line. The majority of Stanley Cup winning games or elimination games are decided by more than just one goal. So I would take the puck line route for that.
I agree 100%, and I was just going to say that. You cannot bet Boston here at -170, and given that most elimination games end up being like 5-1, 6-1, or whatever the case may be, you're really better off betting them on the puck line. Andrew, what do you think? Bottom line.
Yeah, Boston.
No, forget Andrew. I meant Alex. You're done. Your mic sucks. I don't want to hear another word from you.
Yeah,
Carmine, give him the red card.
You got that? I've got no red cards left. I've given them all out.
You're giving them all out to who?
Pretty much all my friends.
Yeah, I think what Andrew said is spot on with Tuukka Rask. I mean, the guy has been absolute money, and even if St. Louis should win this game, I think Tuukka Rask will be holding the trophy. He should be getting the Conn Smythe. So hopefully, we mentioned that. I said, to bet that. I got it at -$1.20, but there's some places you can actually get plus prices throughout the series. So hopefully everyone's holding a ticket with that. But I think, like I said, he's just been absolute dominant in closeout games, and I wouldn't expect anything different here in Game 7. I think Boston does end up winning the Cup. The only thing I'm betting, though, is the third period over. We've seen this cash last night in a big way, and in every elimination game, I mean, it's pretty much been around the 80% clip this postseason. So, it kind of goes in line with Boston on the puck line as well. We should see that empty net should they have a lead. So I'm looking to cash with the third period over one more time.
Well, and with that said, Alex, the third period being the highest scoring period of the game is +225, and I think that's a pretty decent bet.
I do too. Yeah, I've seen that. It's been the highest payout throughout the series too. So, people have been kind of cashing with that in a couple of games, especially since last game, 5 goals in the third period. So that's something I would look at as well too.
Carmine,
Yeah, here the last 16 games. Before I get to this one, last 16 games in the Stanley Cup that have gone to Game 7. The home team is 12-4. The last two were actually away wins. Pittsburgh beating Detroit back in 2009, and in 2011 it was actually Boston beating Vancouver in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. Listen, St. Louis has played extremely well on the road. I don't think this line should be anywhere where it should be right now. I think we should see some St. Louis money. Plus 144 for St. Louis is way too much. They're 9-3 on the road in the playoffs. So this isn't a team that doesn't know how to play. They've already won 2 of 3 in Boston. So take away the fact that it is Game 7. There's no pressure on these guys. Both teams have the equal amount of pressure on them when they go on there. I said in Game 5, and I said it again in Game 6. Team that scores first is probably going to win the game. It was St. Louis in 5. It was Boston in Game 6. That Game 6 was tight until the third period, until that second goal. It could have gone either way.
And it was a weak one.
No, I honestly believe St. Louis is extremely live here. And if this stays at plus 144 or goes a little bit higher, which I don't think it's going to go any higher, but I'm willing to take plus 144 here with St. Louis and then going back to Boston. And I know Andrew said, I understand Andrew said Game 6 was their Game 7, but yes, Game 7 is Game 7.
Well, listen, Andrew's very young, Carm. Like he can't work out that 7 is 6.
No, I understood exactly what he meant, and I agree with him on that. Game 6.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, I get it as well too. It was their time to lock it up, much like in the first round of the playoffs. Toronto-Boston. Toronto had Game 6 at home, could have closed it out, didn't, went back to Boston and lost. St. Louis is a live dog here, and if they score first, it's just going to make it that much tougher for the Bruins. That Bruins power play, after the first 3 games in this series where they were lights out, and they've been lights out the whole playoffs, have been held to bay. They scored a power play goal yesterday, but it was a 5-on-3. So it's a little different with a 5-on-3. They've closed down the Bruins on these power plays.
And St. Louis had a lot of chances on their power plays yesterday. Listen, guys, we got to call it a show. Lots going on today. First pitch with Tony and Dave Koken. Hopefully the last morning Joe of the year with Marco D'Angelo. And really quickly, everybody, thank you all so much for being part of the PuckTime family. We will be back during the NHL preseason to take a look at some futures bets, and we will have a different style of show next year. It'll be much more professional. Andrew will not be on it unless his vocals, audio works perfectly, and we don't have to look up his nostrils as the angle of his camera is fixed. We always will have Alex and Carmine. We should call you the Big Ragu, I guess. I don't know why I just said that, but you.
Well, it was my name when I worked at the Fan 590 doing the NFL show. I was the Big Ragu, so that's probably where you're thinking.
Yeah, with carbonara sauce. Anyway, listeners, thank you all. Enjoy the game on Wednesday night. I'm off to Vegas. You guys rock. Thank God PuckTime is over for the summer. And we'll see you all sometime in September.
All right. Thanks, Prez. Enjoy your summer.
All right. Good luck, boys.